my name is Costi. I am Italian. I'm from Turin, and I grew up in Rome, and I've been living in the US for the last 2 years. I am very lucky in that I have two amazing cooks in my family. My mother is the second best cook in the world, and my grandmother is the best cook in the world. So although I am average, I have some amazing recipes that I can't wait to share with you guys. Obviously, being from Italy, the last month and a half or 2 months have been very hard, but it's amazing to be here with you guys today and to be able to share this with you. And I would like to introduce with you my co-chef for the day. His name is Andrew, and he is an expert Parmesan grater with an amazing hat. And he has also offered to provide stand-up comedy today. So if at any moment it gets boring, he'll be providing jokes. We also have a soundtrack of Italian music today in the background. So if you hear anything you like, let me know and I will send it your way. Now, before we start, the most important thing with Italian cooking is that you start with a glass of wine. So we both have one. Cheers.
Cheers.
We can't wait to be doing this with you. Now, today, we will be learning 2 recipes. One of them is for all you health-conscious people out there. I will be doing an awesome pasta that I absolutely love. It's packed with really healthy stuff. There are leeks, there is a lot of kale, and things like tomatoes and garlic, and maybe a little bit of Parmesan and olive oil. So not too healthy, but definitely on the healthier side. We then have a recipe that was handed down to me from my great-great-grandmother and has an awesome Italian tale around it, and I was convinced that it's a real recipe, and I Googled it, and it does not exist anywhere online. But I'm very excited to share with you, and it is a little less healthy. It has things like a lot of sage. It has some eggs, milk, flour, and a lot of butter. Butter is very important in this one, and of course Parmesan, with our expert Parmesan grater. So I think we're going to start with this one. It is very delicious, even though it is a little less healthy, but it is very easy to do as well, which is awesome. So we start with 1 egg. So you're going to need a bowl, something like this, and you're going to mix the pasta mix in here, and then we're going to make it in the boiling water with a very long spoon. You're going to start with 1 egg. The ingredients are very simple. All you need in here is milk, eggs, and flour. Actually, let's do 2 eggs. So it's 2 portions. So 2 eggs in a bowl. And my expert Parmesan grater is going to be grating Parmesan throughout the whole thing because we're going to need a lot of Parmesan with it. So
this is
2
the
eggs
unhealthy one, in case people forgot.
The less healthy one.
The less healthy.
2 eggs in the bowl. And then we're going to take about 1 glass of milk. So you're going to measure out about 1 glass.
And Costi, please remind me, what is the name of this dish and why does it have this name?
So this dish is called bocconi da prete. And the reason it's called that is that, well, literally translated, that means the bites of the priest. And back in the day, the priest was able to go to any house and ask for a free meal. And this is called the bocconi da prete because it was the meal that you would give the priest because it was so filling and yet so cheap to make and so easy to make. There's also a pasta which you might have heard of called strozzapreti. It's a classic Italian pasta shape. And the reason it's called that is that it's a very big, bulky pasta, and you would also serve the priest that, and you would hope that it would strangle him, because strozzapreti translated means strangle the priests. So as you can hear, the Italians probably weren't big fans of the priests that would come and get free meals from them. Okay, so in this bowl, we now have 2 eggs and 1 glass of milk. And now you have the secret, very important ingredient, which I'm going to take from this pot here. Nutmeg. I don't know how many of you guys actually have nutmeg at home, but you should because it is an awesome ingredient. And I think what you do is you just put in a nice, good amount. However much, really. You can't really go wrong with this. And then we're going to take a whisk. I think there's a whisk here somewhere. And you're going to whisk the eggs and the milk and the hazelnut, just so that the egg yolks break. And this is such an easy recipe that we did it together once, and then Andrew actually made it by himself. So.
And for any of you out there that are worried that you're too uneducated of a chef to do this, I assure you that you have the talent. This is legitimately the only thing besides cereal I've ever made in my entire life, and I was able to do it.
But it's also delicious.
And it is way more delicious than cereal.
Thank you. Okay, so you've got your mix. It's got 2 eggs and a glass of milk in it and a little bit of nutmeg, or however much nutmeg you want. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pause your expert Parmesan grater and maybe grab a little bit of Parmesan and just mix it in. It's just going to make it nice and cheesy. A little bit less healthy and a little bit more delicious. Now the important step and the main step in grab the flour, and you're going to put flour into this mix. This is the last ingredient that goes into the mix. And you put as much flour as it takes to make a spoon stand in this mix. So let's grab a spoon, just so we know what we're doing. We're going to slowly whisk some flour in. So actually, I could use my sous chef right now, if he's around. Hey, sous chef. Oh, he's coming around. Okay, so my sous chef is going to whisk. Can you do that?
I can do that.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to slowly pour some flour in as he whisks. Ooh. You're going to tell me when you think it's gotten thick enough, when you've done this before. And it's all right if you mess it up, because if you accidentally put in too much flour, you can just add milk. So that might be, no, a bit more.
So what is going to be the test here?
The test is going to be that you have to be able to put a spoon in it, and the spoon mostly stands up. So I think that might be right. Let's give it a proper whisk. Our water is boiling, which is awesome. Great. Okay. Let me get in there.
While we're doing this, we have a few questions, such as how often you cook per week? How are you so cute in quarantine, love? I'm assuming that one's for me. And the answer is you just don't shave and you wear oversized t-shirts. So I got you there. And where are y'all located? And are there any great Italian markets that are open?
Great question. So we are currently in Chicago. I live in New York, and Andrew lives in California. We've been very lucky the last month and a half that we've gotten to quarantine together. But we also have gotten to cook together every day, mostly twice a day. And before that, Andrew had cooked how many times?
One. I poured milk in my cereal when I was 14. I'll never forget.
You put the pasta to cook in the pan.
Yeah, that was impressive as well.
There are a lot of great places in New York to get Italian food. Italy is obviously a classic that I'm sure you're very aware of. They sell all of the best things. My favorite pasta brand in Italy is actually Rummo, and you can get Rummo in New York, which is awesome. And I get that from Italy, but you can find it other places too. I don't know about Chicago.
Chicago, the Merchandise Mart has a lot of delicious places.
Also, guys, as you can see, we've messed this up, but that's okay. That's why this is such an easy dish. We put in a bit too much flour.
Wait on. So when you say we've messed it up, what she means by that is it's a little too thick now. And so we need to be able to soften it a little bit.
Which is very easy. We're just going to put in a splash of milk. It's not going to make much of a difference, but it will make it a little. There we go. That's exactly the consistency we want. And the way that you know that this is the consistency that you want is you grab a spoon, and when you stick it in, it stays up. There you go. That's your test. Not very scientific, but it is the way to do it back in Italy. Now, the next step for this is going to be very easy. We want, all right, let me get that off. So we want two things going on. We want one pot, which is full of water. I think you guys can see this. One pot, which is full of water, which is about to boil. And then one pan, and we're just going to put some butter and sage in it. That is all you need. When I first made this for Andrew, he thought it was kind of healthy, and he's like, it's so good. And then when he tried to make it, he didn't realize that you needed to add a ton of butter. But that's okay. Butter is good for you in a lot of ways. So, okay, we've got this going. This is ready. We're going to put this here. And my sous chef is about to take over as he makes the pasta. Before he does that, I'm going to grab some butter. And I'm going to put it in the pan with a bunch of sage, and I'm going to let it cook. You're going to let it sort of, you want it to almost
How much butter, though?
However much.
So just to clarify, if any of you are dating an Italian, when they say how much butter and they say a little bit, this is how much they mean.
Not that much. Just, enough that it's going to cover the pasta in a beautiful layer of butter. And it's going to brown, almost brown. It's going to bubble. So you need to watch the butter. When you put it on, make sure that you don't just forget it, because if it goes dark brown, you're gonna have to throw it away and start over, which is fine, but just watch it. Okay, so we've got this beautiful sage right now, which smells amazing. We're gonna take however much you want. Honestly, you cannot overdo this. So a bunch of sage.
Someone just said a pinch of butter, and whoever said that, I applaud you, because anyone who classifies that as a pinch has the world's biggest hands in the history of the world.
Okay, so this is what's going on in our pan right now. We just have butter and sage, and we're gonna turn it on, and it's gonna bubble. We're gonna watch it bubble, but we don't want it to get brown or black or too dark.
Also, someone asked, what is a sous chef and what is his favorite cereal if it's his best regular dish? I'm happy to answer that. The answer is Cocoa Puffs. Why? Because it's really two dishes. The first dish is the cereal, which is Cocoa Puffs in milk. The second dish is a delicious chocolate milk once you have finished the cereal. So for those of you that want to chime in on less educated cooking, I'm happy to host a different Twitch lesson on that. Okay.
You haven't made your cereal for me yet.
No, but we're getting there.
Okay, so we have two things going on now with this pasta. We have the butter cooking, and then we just have a pot of water, which has been boiling for the last 10 minutes. And now, very important step, and I say this is important because Andrew got it very wrong last week. You need to put a handful of salt in the water.
Hand size is relevant. Handful is a confusing metric.
So let me show you about how much salt I would put into a pot that size. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like it's a full handful. It's not a pinch. And that's fine. You're not going to eat it. It's just going in the water. It's very important whenever you make pasta that you put a proper handful in. Believe me, you can tell the difference. Now my sous chef is about to take over. His job is going to be to make the actual pasta. This is a very important job. So he's got a very long spoon. I don't know how many of you guys actually have this in your kitchen. If you have a normal spoon, that's fine. It's just going to be a little more painful. He's going to take this very long spoon, and the trick to this pasta is the first thing he's going to do, he's going to take the spoon and he's going to put it in the hot water. That makes it so that the pasta does not stick to the spoon. Once he's done that, he's just going to spoon the pasta into the water, one by one, and each little bite is going to make pasta, which is really nice. And it comes out very funky and delicious.
Funky and delicious is my nickname in middle school, by the way.
I think it still is. The smaller you make the bites, the better they are. So take your time with this. There's no rush. Just put one spoonful in at a time. There you go.
I'm on it.
You remember step number 1? No. In the water. Get it nice and hot. There you go. And now you're just going to spoon one in at a time. There. Perfect. And he just puts it in and let it go all the way down. Let it go into the water. There you go. And then one at a time. And you know they're cooked when they come up to the surface. But they'll basically be done by the time you're done. And in the meantime, our butter is slowly cooking. Make sure you watch it so it doesn't burn.
Gotcha.
So while he's doing this, which is basically the last stage of this pasta, because all we're going to do is we're going to take it out and stick it in the butter, and it's going to be amazing, I'm going to get us started on our very healthy pasta, which, let me just get some stuff out of the way here, which is very simple as well. It is one that I actually only discovered a few years ago, but I kind of got obsessed with this black kale that you can get in most supermarkets. And it's a very popular ingredient in Italy, but it also exists a lot in the US. And it's called cavolo nero in Italy, which means black kale. And it's very delicious and easy to use and very, very good for you. So what I normally do is I'll get a bunch of that, and that's what goes into my pasta. And all I start with is I take out this sort of, there's a really chunky stem bit. And I'll take that out just because it's kind of messy. So I'll do that and sort of snap it off. So you've got the nice stuff that you can eat, and then you're going to throw this away. And I do that for all the bits. I've already done the other bits, so this is all ready. And I get that ready. So that's one piece. The other piece is we're going to want probably 1 leek. I'm making pasta for 2 people, but it's 2 very hungry people, so it kind of counts like 4 people. It's not great for quarantine that I've been cooking for 4 people and there are only 2 of us, but what are you going to do? Okay,
worked out today. Peloton.
Yeah, we worked out. We worked out. That's our excuse. We're going to have both of these pastas, so I'm not sure it counts as an excuse. Okay, so we've got this beautiful leek. We've washed it, and we're going to cut off the end, clean it, and we're going to chop it up into ring-sized bits, just like this. Not too small, because you're going to have to fish these out of the pot. But you just chop it up, And this is such a simple pasta, but it is so healthy and delicious. But we've actually made it how many times do you think, Andrew?
At least 3.
At least 3, a lot of times. Okay, so when you've chopped most of this up, obviously not this end bit, but when you've chopped most of this up, make sure that you get all of the dirt out because leeks are very hard to clean. They have mud everywhere. Once that's done, it's a three ingredient sauce really, plus tomatoes and such. But it's a sort of a kale pesto, if you will. You've got the kale, you've got the leeks, and the third ingredient is garlic. Italians love their garlic. So you're gonna take however much garlic you feel comfortable with. I would normally, with this amount, I would probably take 4 pieces, 5 pieces. So I'm gonna have 5 pieces of garlic. And those are our 3 beginning ingredients. What we're gonna do is we've got a pot of water. It's been boiling all this time. And we're gonna do our usual move. We're gonna add, where's the salt? Here, we're gonna grab a fistful of salt and we're gonna put that in the, I do this all in one pot because that way you get the taste of the leek and it goes into the pasta too. So 1 fistful of salt goes into the boiling water. How's the pasta going, sous chef?
It is honestly going too well. I'm honestly intimidated for those at home. If this is going too well, I apologize. We're crushing it. We also have had a few questions since we started. Jack Al NYC said the best combo is honeycomb, cinnamon toast crunch, and Fruit Loops with oat milk in all-in-one bowl. That sounds delicious.
I haven't had that yet.
I'm into trying that. Let's see. Are there different types of kale? I didn't even know.
That's a great question.
I just ordered from Sweet Green. That's a good question.
There are a lot of different types of kale. I think the one you get in Sweet Green is very curly kale, unless I'm wrong. But it won't be this kale. This one you will find in most stores. It's called Cavaronero or black kale. You also get, the store we were in yesterday also had purple kale, which was
yeah, it's true.
earlier.
Plum Market in Chicago had it.
Yeah, this one looks like this. It's very identifiable. It's like a long leaf with a stem. I've taken the stem off now, but it's pretty, once you see it, you won't unsee it. And actually, when I used to make this in the UK, I would also add a few leaves of just like normal cabbage, but I can't find that here. So it's fine without.
And let's see, Jay Beanie 87 said we will all be soft at the end of this. And the answer to that is just, it's true. It's insane, Cassie didn't say it, but Allie Love on Peloton is single-handedly keeping her sane and maintaining her logic throughout all this. And then Magic Fridola just said, apparently veggies and fruits are way more colors than supermarkets told me. That's exactly true.
That is a very good point. It's amazing how many people think there's just one type of kale. But this is the Italian kale. So if you got kale in Italy, this would be the only kale you would find. And it's definitely my favorite. You can do a lot of things with it. You can just chop it up and make it in some pasta with some orecchietta, and that's amazing. But this is definitely my favorite thing to do with it. So, all right, how is that pasta going?
We're almost there, yeah. They're
yeah, so this is kind of this is a job I always got when I was sort of 6 or 7, and now too. Whenever I go home, my mom says, hey, what do you want tonight? And I always tell her I want this pasta, because I know it's the most work, and I know she's going to put me to work, and I always get this job, where you sit there and here's the spoon.
You know you've made it in life when you're getting the job for 6 or 7-year-olds, just for those of you at home watching.
But it's worth it, because every bite that you make, you get to have, and it's delicious.
It's true. It is unbelievably
Also, what you can see he's doing, that's not quite right. You want smaller bites. Which makes it a lot, yeah, that's perfect. Which makes it a much longer process.
I wanted to give an example of one that you shouldn't be doing, just so that people at home could see it. So just for example, this is the right size. You don't want to put too much. You want to do it as a 83% of a spoonful in order to get 81% of a spoonful when you go into the boiling water. 81% for those at home.
But the smaller you make it, as you will see when you first make this the first time, the small bites are definitely the best ones. So it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. Okay, so I think we get started with our kale pasta. Now we've got our 3 ingredients. We have the kale, we have the chopped up leek, and we have like 4 or 5 pieces of garlic. I think we've only got 4 here. Let's get 5 going. Now there are 3 phases actually of this. The hot boiling water is going to have first the garlic and the leeks. for 3 minutes. Then we're going to add the kale for 3 minutes. Then we take all that out and we put the pasta in and we cook the pasta. So let's get started. We're going to grab the 5 pieces of garlic and all of the chopped up leek that we have, and we're going to put it in the boiling water. And that's going to be in there for 3 minutes by itself. Give it a head start. This is also a very easy recipe to make, but it is delicious. Okay, so that's in there for 3 minutes. We should get the timer going. 25. And once that's done, we're going to add the kale. And we're going to need a blender as well. Thank you. Great. So we have an Italian playlist going. I'm not really sure about, oh, this is a classic. So this is almost done, actually. Our butter is a beautiful color, which I want to show people. So this is gorgeous because it's just a little bit brown, but not, like it's got like brown dots, but not more than that. So this is perfect. This is going to be our pasta sauce. And if Andrew was in here, I would probably add a little more butter, but I know he's watching me, so that's enough for now. Maybe it's time for you to stand up.
Well, look, if there's anything I will always say, it is that this has been an interesting time for all. And so cheers to everyone out there, in particular our friends and family who might be afflicted or sick from this horrific illness, and then also our healthcare veterans that are out there, and then the true heroes right now. We're just here and cooking and enjoying each other's company, but there are people every day that are actually working to save the lives of hundreds of thousands across the globe. So whether it's Costi's family in Italy, who's obviously been doing this for a long while, or anyone else here in the States who's just now coming to terms with how serious this is. It is truly an interesting time, but there are a lot of positive moments, and I hope you all are finding the positivity in your own lives. So cheers to some positivity. In our family, we like to say, what's not wrong today? And the answer of what's not wrong today is that we're able to spend some time cooking some delicious food and sharing with all of you. So cheers.
Also, I'm sure people have noticed the webcam's a little too tall. Well, you're too tall for the webcam.
I'm too tall for the webcam. The webcam is a little too short, is how we like to say.
I think it was made for Costi.
Well, yeah, that's probably true.
Well, obviously, big cheers to what Andrew said. I think we've been very lucky that our biggest affliction over the last month and a half has been, wow, we have to start cooking for ourselves. And Andrew's learned a lot of recipes, which is great. We have a few questions with my guys. The hat is amazing. I wanted the hat, but even though I'm head chef, I did not get the hat. All right, so I think that's been in there now for 3 minutes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our beautiful kale, but what I will ask you to do is keep one leaf out. So just save this for yourself. We're gonna use that in the pan, but take the rest of the kale, which is a lot of kale, and we're gonna pop that in with the leeks and the garlic. And it's gonna get messy. We're gonna use right here, make sure it's all in there. And now that's got another 2 or 3 minutes before we take it all out and put it in the blender. Now, in our pan for this pasta, and it's very important that you always have a pan for the pasta, because once you're done boiling it, usually what I do is, I don't know if you guys already do this, but for me, like in Italy, we always do this. If the pasta cook time is 10 minutes, you normally cook it for 8 minutes, so subtract 2, and then you finish cooking it in the pan with the sauce, and that gets everything sort of mixed up. It's the exact opposite of cooking and then putting the sauce on top. It's very important in Italy. We call it mantecare, and that's usually when you put the pasta in with the sauce and you add some butter or some olive oil, or you just kind of let it all mix and get together, and the pasta kind of hugs the sauce. It's amazing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this going, and we're gonna put some olive oil and maybe another piece of garlic, because you can never have too much garlic, really, as long as you're both having it. So generous slug of olive oil in the pan. And in here, before we add the sort of blended kale pesto, we're gonna use our leftover our saved leaf of kale, which is right here, and we're gonna chop it up as thinly as possible. So I'm gonna take this leaf of kale and I'm gonna just chop it up. I'm gonna show you what I'm doing. I'm just cutting it up into tiny little pieces. And I'm gonna sort of saute that, and then I'm gonna add, with the garlic, and then I'm gonna add some tomatoes, kind of get them nice and hot. And then we're gonna add the kale pesto onto there so that you have some sort of, it makes a big difference because when you put in the kale pesto, it's sort of, it's very, it's been boiled, it doesn't have, you don't have that like burnt element that sort of, it's been roasted in garlic oil element, which is very important, it gives it an edge. So, we've chopped up this kale. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. So it looks like this, just like chopped up kale. And I've got the olive oil on with this garlic, and I'm gonna turn that on high. There we go. Hello, Susha. How's it going?
Where did Enos Cantor go? That's a very obscure reference.
Who's Enos Cantor?
Costi definitely does not get it.
No, I don't.
But loin ounces, I appreciate it. I actually thought he was a very underrated player. I thought the Sam Adams, Enos Cantor combo on the Thunder never got enough love. Offensive, dynamite, unclear what his defensive status was. I was a big fan. Jay Beanie's here eating a half-rationed salad, getting super hungry.
Well, Jay Beanie, this is very easy, and I hope you do it tomorrow. Okay, our next step is, it's been 3 minutes.
Can't see.
We're gonna take all this glorious stuff that we put in to boil, we're gonna take it out. And I know it's tempting to leave it in longer because the kale does not look, the kale does not look like it's been cooked enough, but trust me, that is enough. You're gonna take everything out and just pop it in the blender. You've got garlic, you've got leeks, you've got a lot of kale, all this stuff that is definitely good for you and will keep the vampires away. Great. Take it all out. And this is great because now your pasta tastes all nice and kale-y when you put it in that water. Okay, that's what we've got in there. Maybe we add a lot of olive oil because...
Loin Ounces wants to see his footwork in the paint. Honestly, I'm enjoying this repartee. Am I watching the Bulls documentary tomorrow? Boy, am I. I mean, The Last Dance is going to be the single best sports documentary in the history of the world.
He has been talking about it all week.
As a Chicago fan, I cannot imagine anything greater. Although I'm team MJ GOAT, not even close. And so I'm a little worried about, everyone seeing MJ be the big let's say big bully that he was, for lack of a better word. But that's going to be truly a television phenomenon. And so I'm excited about it. You want to see my footwork in the paint? Well, look, I think Enos Cantor as a stand-up, Enos Cantor is a Turkish basketball player who's a phenomenal offensive scorer with questionable defensive skills, a bit of a liability, a David Lee-esque power forward, if you will.
Who's David Lee?
We'll deal with it later. We'll deal with it later.
Okay. Is he good?
We'll let the fans decide that.
Okay.
But let's just say that we're gonna have a great idea. Yeah, break out the wine. Yeah, cheers to that. Authentic MJ is going to be all over tomorrow's documentary. We're very excited to watch it, to say the least.
I might be working on a puzzle then, but...
Yeah, Costi will be plowing through her puzzle then. Although, for those of you who want to, the Last Dance documentary on ESPN tomorrow is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be really something special.
Yes, thank you, Jay Beanie. We're on the same page here.
We are in, for those, someone else asked, we're in downtown Chicago. In case people were wondering, the greatest city in the world.
It rains every day.
It was 65 degrees.
No, you're right. Sorry, it snowed yesterday, but it rains every other day. Wait, so just quick interruption. So back to our pasta channel. We have everything in here. I'm gonna blend this now. The secret is to add a little bit of hot water from the boiling pot just to keep it sort of liquid. Otherwise, it gets really mulchy and gross. I'm gonna do that now. You can keep rotating as you see that. Wait. And the other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab So I chopped up some tomatoes. I got these beautiful tomatoes from the market. They're all sorts of colors, but you can use normal tomatoes. They're amazing, and they add a lot of freshness to the end result. I chopped up the tomatoes, and I chopped up the kale, and these ingredients go into the pan with the olive oil and the garlic, and they're going to sort of a little bit, and that's what we're going to add the blended kale into. There we go. You can hear that. I'm sure you can hear that. There you go. A little bit brown, a little bit amazing. And actually, I think Andrew's pasta is almost done. Looks like he's finished. Make sure nothing's burned, but oh wow, guys, this is amazing. You have to see this. So this is beautiful. It's cooking at high heat, so it's getting delicious, but it's just the kale and the tomatoes. And that's going to be the base for our pesto. Now we've got our blender. We're going to take a ladle. Anything really? Yeah. A ladle, and we're going to put some hot water in the blender. There we go, and that is what our amazing sous chef is going to blend.
I'm ready to blend it.
Well, I was going to scoop out at the time.
No. Or you can scoop it. Maybe blend.
Blend. I'm going to blend.
Okay. Do you know where the top is? You will blend the top. But in the meantime, what I will do is that his before that fix it are done, and the way that you know that they're done, I'm going to show you, is that they're all floating. So the thing with fresh pasta is that you know that it's done and it's floating. It's usually just a minute or two, maybe 5 minutes max, but the moment it's floating, it's cooked. So we're going to grab a ladle, and we're going to take the pasta out, and we're going to put it in our beautiful butter sauce. And it's okay if you get some water, because we're going to cook it for a little bit. It doesn't need to be perfect. But you scoop it out, and you pop it in the beautiful butter. And I promise you this is going to be amazing. I don't think Andrew loved me as much as he did when he tried this pasta. I mean, he had it and he was like, this is so good. This is so good. It is also the pasta I ask for every time I get home. I think it's the butter, realistically. But make sure you get all the tiny pieces out, because there are a lot of tiny, beautiful pieces, and they're going to be delicious when you have them. Okay, so this is how it looks. I think you can see that. I hope you can see that. And you just kind of mix it into the butter. Maybe put it back on the hob just for a minute or two to make sure it kind of assimilates the butter and gets nice and hot. And then you're going to add a lot of Parmesan. That's the other trick. Okay, so we've got this going. Back to our kale pasta. We have, perfect, we have our beautifully blended mix. Look at this. What a sous chef. Thank you very much. We have this beautifully blended mix. This is all good stuff. This is kale, leeks, it's garlic. That's it. It's amazing. It's hot water. This is definitely good for you. This is how I justify this pasta. It is very good for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to take it and you're going to pop it in the pan with the kale and the tomatoes. And then I think you're going to turn it off, because our sauce is ready and we're going to put the pasta in to boil. Sorry. Okay, so let me show you how this works. So this now has the kale pesto in it, and obviously what we had before, which was the kale and tomatoes. And that is our sauce. I promise you it's going to be amazing. The trick here is to add olive oil and Parmesan at the end. That's going to make it delicious, but it is very, very good for you. So what we need to get going for that is some pasta. I think we need to put some pasta to boil. If you want it to be super healthy here, you can use some whole wheat pasta. We're not quite there yet. I think we're going to use some normal spaghetti. It's definitely my favorite pasta to have with this, but orecchietta is also very good if you wanted to do something a little more interesting, or if you want to make your own pasta, that would be amazing too. This is a very easy recipe. I think you could do it in 15 to 20 minutes, but if you take some spaghetti and you put them to boil, that's how you do it.
We just have a few other comments I'd love to address whenever you have a moment. A lot of.
Was the normal sous chef today?
Yeah. So I would actually like to particularly call out H. Shry, which is one of my favorite commenters on Twitch. H. Shry, it's an absolute pleasure that you were joining. It's great to see you as someone who has really been actually an avid fan of our cooking. It's really nice that you were able to chime in, and let's just say, yes, the normal sous chef was sick today, and I'm happy to chime in just for you. So thank you for joining.
I'm just going to jump in and interrupt you very quickly.
Go ahead.
Get back to your channel, but the normal amount of pasta per person is something like 80 grams. I normally make 100 to 120. If you're only having pasta as a meal, then I think 120 is a good amount. If you're having pasta, then you're going to have some meat or some fish or something else. Then you want to do sort of 80 grams. This is about 200 grams because we're having 2 bits of pasta today, and the amount of sauce that we've made is probably for 2 to 4 people, so you would want to do 300 to 500 grams. But this is 200 grams of pasta. It says that you're supposed to cook it for, I know I cooked this for 9 minutes, but I think you're supposed to cook it for like 12. We cook it for 9 because we're going to finish cooking it in the sauce, like I said before. So pop this into your salted boiling water, and we're going to put the timer on for 9 minutes. So it's going to be ready at 49.
It's also a good reminder to everyone out there that wine is an important ingredient in all of this. And so for those of you that are following along at home, make sure that you're continuing to pour yourself a glass of wine, drink the wine as necessary.
Now, I think our bouquets they are pretty much ready.
They are. It's pretty ready.
Yeah, I think it's done. So let me show you what this looks like. Now, the important thing to remember with bouquets is that it tastes a lot better than it looks. It's going to look messy. You've got your bits of bites that are made from spoonfuls. You see this? But it is amazing. It's covered with butter, and it's delicious. And what we're going to do as the final touch, which is sort of my final touch for everything, is we're going to take this beautiful Parmesan that has been grated by our expert Parmesan grater. We're going to take a nice, big, generous handful. We're going to put it all over. And then we're also going to add a nice lug of olive oil, because you can never overdo it with the olive oil. There we go. So this is perfect. We're going to eat this when we're done. But can you lift it? I don't know if I can, but this is pretty much it. And I promise you should try this.
I'm telling you, this is the single greatest pasta in the history of the world. Tennis racket, seashell, penne. This is the GOAT right here. We're looking at the MJ of pasta. The Last Dance documentary about this is going to be even better, just in case anyone was wondering. This is going to be amazing.
Great. Okay, so what's going on here for our other pasta, the very healthy one. Now, this has taken an hour because we've really dragged it out, but I promise you to try to make this at home. It would be very, very quick. And hopefully everything we said is very simple to follow. What we've got going on here is we've got our Kale Pasta, which is in the pan, ready to go. You can turn the heat down, just leave it there. And our pasta is boiling. We're hoping it should be ready in 5 minutes or so. We're going to have a lot to eat tonight.
If other people are in downtown Chicago and want to come help us eat our dinner, please,
at
please,
a socially acceptable distance.
Yeah, at a socially acceptable distance, indeed. Are people being mean? Guys, this is the worst part about the internet, is that people are being mean. But I'm assuming there's only, yeah, thank you, Jay Beanie. Magic Frijola said, my guess is if they're in high school by now, their parents have given up in quarantine and are sharing a glass with them. Oh, that wasn't mean, that was kind. The pasta does look incredible. And here is, just to clarify, what the final...
Oh, thank you for plating it.
What the final looks like. I'll let the chef show it off.
No, it's all right. Well, you did this one, actually. That's what the final looks like. It is a lot better than it looks, right? Sous chef, who has eaten this? Yes, maybe? It is a lot better. But yeah, that's the final result. And I think we have 2 perfect portions here, so whatever amounts we went for.
I would agree. And actually, one of the fun things that happened was when we decided this was going to be a good idea, we said that any individual that at 6:47, it's 6:44 Central Time, at 6:47 said, Costi, please finish your glass. If anyone commented that, she would do it. Just so you know. So if anyone in 3 minutes, not right now, if anyone in 3 minutes will send to the chat, please finish your glass. Costi has guaranteed that she'll do it.
Okay, Finn. Is that
No,
Jordy?
not yet.
That you were Jordy?
Not the magic for Jola was too early. It was too early. 6:44. In 3 minutes, 6:47. Anyone who does
Magic
it, she will finish her glass. She has guaranteed it, personally guaranteed it. So that's where we're at right now.
Well, I think we're almost there with the pasta, right? What time did we say it was? I think 4 more minutes. Is that right?
Yes.
49 past. I didn't really memorize. I normally put a timer on.
All right, Magic Jola, if you're on time, you're late. I appreciate that Tim Coughlin reference. I do enjoy that quite a bit, which is why, in honor of you, I will finish my glass. All right, but that is not the relevant person you're going after here.
we did a sort of replacement festival thing earlier today. So we had a drinking session, and I learned what a power hour is. Very American. We had a very big drinking session, so one more glass will be a lot. But our pasta is almost done, which we're very excited about. In fact, I'm going to check to make sure that it's not already done. Yeah, a few more minutes. So I think we're going to have a lot to eat tonight.
Wait, new to Power Hour? The answer is yes. She has never, as a foreigner, she didn't know what a Power Hour was. We did the Disney Princess one, in case anyone is curious.
So in Europe, we only really talk about centurions. So I'd heard of centurions, but never of power hours.
Where do we get those aprons and hats?
They're good, right? They are really good. Actually, I think this is. Did your sister make this?
I made that.
Oh, you made this.
Andrew. Nude Power Hour. Oh, nude to Power Hour. Very different, JB97.
Nude power hour should be a thing, though. Maybe next time that's what we do. There's a cleaning thing happening, which is don't wear your pants. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but there's a cleaning session where you're supposed to not wear your pants and water your plants instead. I'm sure that a lot of you who are away from home right now will empathize with this, but all my plants are dying, and it's really sad. They're all dead. I called my super yesterday, and I told him that I think I left a light on, and that I was worried my apartment would go on fire.
Hold on. First of all right, it's 6:47. It's 6:47, and let it be known that James Rubin, who we don't know, has said, "Finish your drink." He said it. That means you have to finish your drink.
I definitely know who James Rubin is.
I don't know who that person is, but it said, "Oh wow." There it is. James Rubin said, "Finish your drink," and she has done it on camera, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Thank you very much. It is. Thank you. There it is.
Thank you, James Rubin.
Wait. We've also got another
And
request to say
Magic
pasta.
I really appreciate that.
Someone else asked to say pasta again.
Pasta. How do you say it? Pasta?
Pasta, yeah.
Pasta?
That's
It's
fine.
pasta, isn't it?
It's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine.
Pasta?
James Rubin said, "Wow, well done."
Thank you, James. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, so changing subject. It is almost 6:49, which means it is time to take our spaghetti out and put it in our beautiful, beautiful sauce, which actually I'm going to move here so you guys can kind of see it. Great. Turn that off. Okay. So it doesn't matter if you cook this a minute or two less, because it's going to finish cooking in the sauce. So make sure the sauce is on high. Add some olive oil, because you always need more olive oil. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fish out the spaghetti. If you wanted to, you could just actually take it out in a sieve, and I think actually that's what we're going to have to do, because this is a very deep pot. So you're going to throw it in. And it's going to finish cooking in the sauce. I might need my sous chef's help, because this is a a very deep pot. There he is.
Just, wow, we have a lot of other people.
I really hope that someone
Wow, we
else
love
can
you guys
do
too.
this on Saturday
A lot of
night.
people said we love you.
What do you respond to that on this?
Okay, so if it gets a little dry or something, what you can do is you can add a ladle of the hot water from the pasta. That helps it sort of embrace the sauce and cook in there. Make sure it's on high and add a ladle, and it's going to finish cooking in there, especially if you can tell that it's sort of a little too hard, which I think ours is. Great. And be generous with the olive oil. Olive oil is really good for you. It is the right kind of cholesterol. So definitely go for it. Great, I think we're almost there. Guys, this pasta looks really beautiful and I can't wait to show it to you. Oops, oh, our sous chef has the plates out. Oh, wow.
There was a question asked, what are your takes on other oils?
On other oils, that's a really good question.
Gotta face
As an Italian, I sort of feel very strongly about olive oil, especially when it comes to pasta and things like that. But obviously, I love coconut oil. I use that whenever I make pancakes or things like that. I'm really big on olive oil. I don't think you can go wrong. It's very good for you. It is, Italians in general have very good figures in Italy. But for what they eat, because they use a lot of olive oil. My parents have always vouched that it's very healthy. I don't want to question them because I think olive oil is delicious. I'm not sure if it's true. I don't want to ask about it. I've heard it's great. It's definitely better than butter.
There's another question that said, what's your take on Andrew Satt?
I've actually been trying to, from Sash Pat 64. Thank you, Sash Pat.
That's Sachin.
Oh, it's Sachin. Oh,
Well, I think
thank
so.
you.
Also, does Andrew
Actually,
have
I'm trying to
does Andrew have a
balance
good
that.
figure? Was another question that was asked.
That's really awkward. Andrew has a great figure because I've been feeding him for the last month and a half. And we've had a lot of butter and olive oil and parmesan and things like that. And as you can see, he's doing pretty well. Is there a rule where if enough people say take your top off, you have to take it off?
No one has said take your top off. Loin Ounce said nice hat.
You do actually. This is a really great. Thank you so much, Loin Ounces, because I dyed his hair and he was very angry that I got it the wrong color. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Justine. That is exactly what I'm doing. I am beefing him up because every Italian girl needs a real beefed up guy. All right, guys. I think our pasta is pretty much done, which is very exciting. Oh yeah, this is perfect.
Also got Con, on my quarantine beer. Thank you. Is Jay Beanie? That's Justine.
That's Justine.
Justine, thank you. I appreciate that.
Please keep top on.
Loin Ounces. I don't know who you are, but I would love to do some NBA trivia with you. It looks like you're a big NBA trivia guy. So would
Or
be
girl.
down. Or a girl. Yeah, that was sexist, Jared. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But love that. Sach Pat, we know you just downloaded as a Y Combinator guy.
I require facial hair on my men too. This is very exciting actually. This is the longest it's ever been. It's been a month and a half of no shaving. Apparently he hit his peak 2 weeks ago.
my little brother.
Do you have a brother? No, he does not, but he has 3 sisters for all you guys out there. All right, guys, I think our pasta is pretty much there. I'm going to show you what it looks like. And then our excellent sous chef is going to plate it because that is kind of his specialty. And actually, if you want to plate it and if you want it to look beautiful, the trick is to use one of these things. And I bought it just for the plating, but it actually makes cooking and everything else a lot easier. These are so easy. What you do is you're gonna put it in the pasta, you're gonna twirl it a little bit, and then pop it on the plate, and it's gonna look beautiful. So I'm gonna show you, how beautiful it's gonna look. But this is a great pasta because it is so bright and so green. And it is one of my favorite recipes to make because it's so easy and kind of remotely healthy. There we go.
There there are some rumors that John Freeze has actually joined the chat. And look, I never want to call out celebrities too much, but there are rumors that John Freeze.
So who is John Freeze, Andrew?
John Freeze is one of the few people that has ran a beer mile in under 5 minutes.
Wait, isn't he the football player?
You've also gotten some questions, actually, Costi. What dessert would you pair with this pasta?
That is a great question, actually, and we were. Thank you so much, because we were going to do one pasta and a dessert, but then we figured 2 pastas are probably better than one, and we wanted to cater to the unhealthy and healthy eaters, or healthy and less healthy eaters. I'm definitely in a less healthy bucket. But my favorite dessert is this chocolate cake that my mom makes, which we could show next time potentially. It's a chocolate cake made with only 1 egg, very healthy ingredients. It has some almond flour and some beautiful coconut flakes, and then chocolate, dark chocolate, and some raspberries in it. It's amazing. But obviously you could have anything with it, and it would be good.
Wow, we have more questions. Jordy, hold on, let us go one at a time. So we know what dessert.
Oh, obviously it's a pasta bowl. This is a very important debate that has happened every night.
There's also a question from Sachpat64. Is Andrew drinking? I have not seen Andrew drink and would like to see it. What kind of Bud Light would you pair with this meal is another question.
No, there is no Bud Light with this meal.
No, what we're drinking instead of this meal is a 1990 Margot.
And before you drink Bud Light, I would consider drinking some olive oil. Which is
Cheers.
the underrated.
This is a quick cheers to Sachpat64, whoever that is. It's an absolute pleasure, and
cheers. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm
Thank
going to show you what this pasta looks like now, because it is kind of. Oh no! What did you do? Oh no! What did you do?
No, it's been a while.
But it was really clean. Okay. This is kind of messy, but only because really my sous chef got involved. So the important thing is you've got this beautiful bright green pasta. You're gonna add a sprinkle of Parmesan on top, and then very important ingredient, which I do when Andrew is not looking, because he likes his low-calorie meals. But this is gonna make a massive difference. You take your bright, beautiful green pasta and you add a sprinkle of olive oil, and it's pretty good.
look at that.
So guys, what we've learned here today, we have learned 2 pastas we've got right here, which we're gonna eat all 4 plates of this later, so that's not not great for us, or great for us, depending on which way you look at it. We've got a beautiful boccogne da prete, which were made by our sous chef, and are beautifully shaped. As you can see, there are a lot of beautiful, nice small ones, with a gorgeous bit of olive oil and Parmesan on them. And then we also have this beautiful bright green kale pasta. And if you made it with brown pasta, that would be even healthier. You could make it with zoodles. I, as an Italian, feel very strongly about zoodles, but brown pasta is really the way to go. This is a very healthy meal. Ton of kale, ton of leeks, ton of garlic. Would be very good for you. There are a lot of great questions going on here. But I think we're done with our instructions. And if you want anything, definitely let us know. We can send you any email recipes, whatever you want.
Please let us know at CostaU, Instagram, around. Are you full Italian?
I am full Italian, 100%. In fact, I am fighting for a green card right now. It's very messy, very, very hard. But yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much. Do you have any closing words?
No, I've really enjoyed this, and I'm really excited to eat all this pasta. Thank you.